We're going to be talking about phobias today. There's a website that I saw that's got some of the most common ones, and I mean, I'm afraid of things. I feel like that's a pretty reasonable thing to say. I feel like I've gotten over a good amount of mine, and there are actually a couple of them are on this list here. But yeah, let's get started. I'm also gonna throw in one of my personal weird phobias near the end, just because I feel like it'll be funny. It's dumb and it's funny. Agoraphobia is the fear of heights, with around 6% of the population experiencing this fear, which I mean, pretty fair. I was very afraid of it for a while. On the website, it says here that bridges and like just other things where you're kind of high off of the ground are a place where that you're gonna feel that. I was really afraid of bridges for a while, generally not being on the ground. Like it was different if I was on like a mountain or a hill, but I went to Niagara Falls when I was growing up in New York there, and there is this overlook, and it went out super far. It was far enough out where it just didn't feel stable. It was like a giant cement diving board into the falls. I didn't like it, but with 6% of the population feeling the same way, I get it. I understand. Aerophobia is the fear of flying, with around 10 to 40% of the population experiencing that one, and that I understand. The first time I ever took a flight was when I was going to basic training, and I was terrified. I'm not usually the most social person when it comes to talking to strangers, but I had to because I was by myself on a plane. I didn't like that. I didn't know what to do. So I was talking to the person that was next to me, I was like, "Hey, this is my first time flying. What is it like?" Me with my bag of nothing and papers in hand. They're like, "Oh, it's kind of like going on a roller coaster." I had been on one before, so that was comforting. Yeah, 10 to 40%. That's fair. Also, fear of heights. I got over my fear of heights by just going through enough of them. Enough flights will get you to not care about it too much. I've also jumped out of planes, so I've ruined my statistic of landing in every plane that I've taken out of. But yeah, I mean, getting over your fear of heights is rough skis, dude. It is not easy. The first time that I ever jumped was in airborne school, right? The way that I got over it was before you jump, you every single time you're gonna go through a mock-up, which is I'll throw up a picture. It's just a fake plane, and you go through all of your stuff to make sure that you drop the static line off, kick yourself out, set yourself out. I think I got that one right there. I will put a text up if I didn't, but yeah, like when I first jumped, I was just like, I'm just gonna imagine that I'm in the mock-up, and I did that, and I was also the last jumper out. So if I was gonna refuse to jump, it was gonna be easier, and I didn't have the pressure of everyone else behind me. But yeah, mentally, when I was jumping out the first time, I was on the ground, and then I was in the sky, which is a different experience. It's one of the coolest things I've ever done. After the fear of flying, we have arachnophobia, which, I mean, valid. Spiders are creepy as shit. I don't love them. I don't like how many eyes they got. I don't like how many legs they got. There's something about it. It's just not right. I don't know. I don't like them either. I've been bit by a couple of them in my time being alive, but yeah, I don't know. But I feel like there's an unreasonable amount, and that's where it becomes a phobia. Like daddy long legs, cellar spiders, whatever you choose to call them. Yeah, I mean they're spooky, but like they're not gonna bite you. They can't. I think they're technically not even spiders. I don't know why they're not spiders. After spiders, we have snakes, which is ophidiophobia. Yeah, I'm going with that one. Ophidiophobia, I experienced a while too. I was afraid of them because they don't got arms or legs. Why are they moving without either of those things? I've since owned snakes, and I love them. I think they're goofy little noodles, and I don't know. I think if you're trying to get over your fear of snakes, forcing yourself to just like poke one is pretty good. Because I thought they were going to be slimy, and they're not. They're really not. The only way I can kind of describe the way that they feel is like if you were to wear like a super tight like skin suit like over an arm, and it just doesn't have any bones in it. I mean, they have plenty of bones. They got like a lot of them actually, but I think they're cool. Ball pythons are a neat snake, and they're not gonna bite you. Like they can. Anything can bite you, but they're not gonna. So, see those. Cynophobia is the fear of dogs, which I mean I get if you've been bit by one, but come on, man, they're not that bad. Dogs aren't that bad. They can ruin you. Like they can absolutely just eviscerate you. But they probably won't. I've met a lot of nice dogs. I mean, my dog now, he is not friendly, but Or like he's not friendly. He's a good dog. He's got stranger danger, which I mean, likewise. So yeah, if your dog is cynophobia, then another phobia up here that I had for a while is tryptopanophobia phobia. Trypanophobia. Trypanophobia. It's the fear of injections or shots. I was a very afraid child of getting my shots done. I would scream and cry. I was very upset. I didn't want them in my skin. Matt made it significantly worse. I have since gotten so many of them. My mom growing up, she was an anti-vax mom, which, you know, joining the military, that wasn't exactly an option. So when I was going through reception, they shot me up. I was full of needles. I think the first time that I got all of my injections done, I had like close to 10 done, all in the span of like 30 seconds. Because they have you kind of shuffle through this little corridor, and they have all of their different like nurse types. Their injections, and then you get the peanut butter one. Peanut butter shot was not friendly to me. I didn't like that one. I don't know how I got over it. I think it was just doing them enough. But yeah, get your flu shots if you haven't gotten your flu shots. This one is a common childhood fear, but it's just the astrophobia. It's the fear of lightning and thunder, or thunder and lightning. I mean, it's a little spooky. It's a little spooky to have the sky shout at you. I used to like just I don't know. It was just I would get freaked out by it when I was a child because I remember being a kid in the gym class, and it would echo so like bad. You could like kind of feel it in your chest, and when you're tiny and the sky's mad at you, or the earth, that's a little spooky. It's a little spooky. No tips to getting over it. You just gotta eventually. Maybe listen to some loud sounds suddenly. Have your parents argue. That'll probably fix it. This one is my favorite sounding phobia. It's agoraphobia, which is just the fear of outside. It's valid. It's scary out there sometimes. There's also a good song by who is it now? Coletta. Coletta is a phenomenal band. You should listen to them. But yeah, agoraphobia is just the fear of outside and being in situations you can't get out of, in like an open area. Which I don't experience that. That's one of those that I don't fully get. But I mean, someone's got to feel it's on the list, so it must be valid. Mysophobia is the fear of germs, which fair, dude. There is some nasty things out there. I wash my hands a ton, but that's also because I mean, if you're watching this, I'm gonna assume you lived through 2020, so you remember it. I constantly wash my hands, and also my job in the military dealt with biological stuff. So wash your hands, dude. Just wash your hand. Get underneath your nails. Make sure that you go watch. This is gonna sound silly, but go watch a tutorial on how to go wash your hands the proper way. Because you're probably not doing it well enough. And if you're not washing your hands well enough, you're gonna get sick. You're gonna get people sick that don't want to get sick. And it's the right thing to do. Sing happy birthday twice. Please. I was about to move on to the next topic, but I gotta come back to the germs thing. You really should, dude. There is some gross stuff underneath your fingernails that you need to get out of there. When I was going through school for cosmetology, I was a chronic nail biter. I would eat them up. Now, big issue with that was that there is E. coli underneath your fingernails, and that can lead to pink eye and also just get you horrendously sick. So I don't recommend biting your nails, especially. Just don't touch your face unless you just washed your hands. Like, use the back of your hand, use your knuckle or something. Just don't get yourself sick on something that you could easily just avoid doing. That's my advice for the fellas with misophobia. And this is the last one before you talk about my weird fear that I had as a kid. It's just social phobia, just the fear of social interaction, which I get that. I understand. There's a point in my life where I was terrified to order food at a drive-thru. I still do this though, because I tend to mess up ordering. I will write it all out in the order that I'm supposed to say it in, so that way I don't mess it up. Because like, I don't usually care if I mess up my order, but if I'm gonna mess up my wife's order, there we go, I'm gonna feel bad about it, and I don't want to feel bad about it. So just script out your conversation sometimes if that's gonna help you get over it. Phone calls are just rough, bro. Phone calls are gonna be bad. Not bad, but you don't know how it's gonna go. I don't like they might answer, they might not answer. That's not a fan. Not a fan of that part. Now, as a kid, I had a very strange fear, I feel like, but I got my reasons. I've got my reasons. It's called pagophobia or cryophobia. It's just the fear of ice. I'm not sure which one of those is correct. I just Google searched it because I figured there was probably a word for it. But the reason why I was so afraid of ice for such a long time, like I was also afraid of choking on food, but that was because I did, and I didn't want to do that ever again. I knew that like if you're choking, try to drink water. But I was afraid of ice. I was afraid of ice in my drinks because I choked on ice once and I was terrified of it. And I was like, well, I'm just not going to ever drink anything with ice in it ever again. And I didn't. I didn't for years. Whenever I would go to a restaurant, it was always order whatever it was without ice because I would not drink it because I didn't want to have little crushed bits of ice. Even now as an adult, if I'm gonna put a little bit of ice in water, which I typically don't, like I feel like that's probably why I drink room temp water constantly. It's because I don't want ice in my water. I don't want to chew on my drink. That's gross. Not even just gross, but it's just it hurts my teeth, dude. I don't want to chew on ice. At some point, I started to just consume ice water again. I don't know what caused me to do so. I think it was just a matter of inconvenience and being embarrassed of my fear. Yeah, I was afraid of doing that for a very long time. So just make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you again.